Biscuits with Bosses is supported in part by Off Duty Thanks, a gift and apparel brand that invites connection while respecting boundaries. Listeners might enjoy the Off Duty Producer t shirt if you are an entrepreneur like me, especially when attending film festivals or markets. Imagine you're at a networking event and you want to start shaking hands, but you don't know where to start. By wearing an Off Duty Producer shirt, you invite people to approach you and ask you about it. Now you're meeting more people in a shorter amount of time, but you also have the ability to keep the interaction brief. Just grab that contact info and make a date for a more thorough conversation over coffee or tea and biscuits. Right now, Off Duty currently offers apparel for actors, artists, cinematographers, composers, directors, designers, editors, musicians, producers, and writers. However, if you need a permission slip to say no, you can just choose the original Off Duty Thanks apparel. It's a wonderful gift for anyone looking to rest and rejuvenate. Just a heads up, everybody, these are adults having adult conversations, so there is the possibility of adult language. Hey there, party people. Welcome to Biscuits with Bosses by Owl Echo Entertainment. It's the podcast where we get to know leaders in the film and television industry over a spot of tea and biscuits. I am your host, Kay Ross, writer, filmmaker, founder of Owl Echo Entertainment. Now, I have been in the industry in some form for the past 20 years. So theater, television, film, and I gotta tell you, I am still learning. I'm still growing. 6 years ago, I did move away from my hometown in Washington, D.C. in search for something more than just my original trajectory to become a production manager in television. Now, I chose Los Angeles to pursue the more creative side. I knew I wanted to write and direct, but honestly, I never imagined I would have to become an entrepreneur to do that. I'd have to become a boss. Since moving here, I've been on so many coffee dates and honestly just met some truly incredible people. But the industry moves so fast. So now is the time to share what I'm learning as I learn it. And I want to get to know the leaders in the industry the only way I know how. Ted Lasso style. Now, every week we chat with a new guest who is an active influence in the media industry. We get to see the human side behind the role. We get to celebrate our victories together on our way to that big success. And we get to explore what we can do to elevate how we do business, inside and out. So this podcast is intended for professionals in the entertainment industry, but also fellow entrepreneurs. We want to learn from each other. So go ahead and grab your favorite drink, tea, coffee, water, we don't judge here, and join us. Now, we would love to actually hear from you. So if you have anything you're celebrating, feel free to let us know. If you have any questions for our guests, just leave it in the comments below. Happy Friday, guys, and welcome back to day 2 of Mental Health Awareness Month. And in celebration, we're having Biscuits with Bosses. So if you are here with us, grab out your fancy little drink and have a sip. Oh,
called Biscuits with the Boss.
Right? Clearly inspired by Ted Lasso, because what isn't? Yes, this is the podcast where we get to know leaders in the film and television industry over a spot of tea. And then we just dive a little deeper to ponder how can we elevate the future of filmmaking. I'm your host, Rockin' Casual Friday today, Kay Ross, writer, producer, founder of Owl Echo Entertainment. But joining me today is the epic makeup and prosthetic effects artist with over 100 credits spread across indie and major motion picture alike, both television and film. Just on a couple small things you've probably never heard of, like Walking Dead, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Scare Tactics, Stranger Things Season 4. Now, she's also a specialty costumer, filmmaker, owner of Monster Makeup Effects Studio. Joining us today from Atlanta, Georgia, please welcome the lovely, the talented, the boss-ass bitch, Midian Crosby.
Ow. Thank you so much, Karen. So good to be here.
Girl, how you doing? You know what? Let's start with, what are you drinking?
I am on some iced coffee today. I had my tea this morning, and to get me through the afternoon, I've got to have the punch of some some coffee. So it's kind of warm. So doing the iced.
Good call, good call. I feel like that's standard set protocol is like the after lunch hump. You gotta have that little coffee boost.
Exactly. Yep. That's usually the only time I drink coffee. I'm not kind of a morning coffee person. I do enjoy my tea. So very
Ooh.
strong tea.
I was gonna say, how do you take your tea?
I usually use uh, the little tea balls and brew my own so I can like make it really strong, about like 3 tea bags worth. But and I put chai spices in it. So it's kind of a spiced black tea.
That's authentic as shit, man.
And, it, and the way I make it, it's stronger than coffee. Believe me, I'm not jipping on my caffeine, but it's usually just once a day, unless I've got a long day. So, and I need some coffee in the afternoon, like today.
Now I feel all sorts of Americanized. I'm like, do you still put like sugar and milk in it? Like,
I do. I
okay.
do.
I was
Yeah.
like, but it sounds really strong. I'm not sure I can handle it.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I'm thank you for bearing through my little giggle fest as you said T-ball. I was like, ooh.
I don't know what else they're called. Mine's actually not shaped like a ball. It's like a little cage, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
tea cage,
T cage.
which I don't know if that's much better.
You know, again, thank you for just fighting through moments like that where you're just like, I'm trying not to be dirty. I'm trying not to be dirty, but
It's human nature, right?
sometimes I think it's like film and television nature.
Yeah, yeah, it's been kind of a tough transition to like, this new age of being a bit more politically correct in things, because having been in film and television for so many years and being in this like, you know, I mean, not only is film and television a male dominated industry, but makeup effects is also male dominated. And so, you kind of get used to the rowdiness of that kind of environment.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if there isn't a process of just inquiring before you launch forward. You know what I mean? Like there's no need to censor across the board, but there may be an opportunity to just create a dialogue that's like, hey, maybe these are the people I normally work with and I kind of know how they work, but if you're new to the gang, like how do we know, that you won't take offense to things we normally say, you know? Um
That's a tough one. And, it's like you don't want to call somebody out or make them kind of like, say that they're not comfortable with something in front of a bunch of other people either.
yeah.
I let's see, what was it on the Tomorrow War? I was talking to the department head in the aging and dying department, and we were talking about how we both really enjoyed stand up comedy, and I was like, let's put on some comedy, and she was like, nope, can't do it, and I was like, why? And I was like, oh yeah, comedy is, I mean, it's just you can't even stand up comedy is not safe in the workplace, which is a little crazy. It's yeah, we're all a little sensitive, and I understand. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No, you make a really good point. Because I mean, I remember when I started in theater and, when you're working in it's not necessarily the green room, but it's like the area where you build things or you make phone calls or like, it's just like, it's, it's the group hangout, make things area, makerspace. It was probably the original makerspace. And, and we would put on things like Jeff Foxworthy, right? Or Bill Engvall, or things that were like, this is benign, right? We should be able to all laugh at this. But a lot of really hurtful things are happening right now. And so it's hard to play things and know that it's going to resonate with everybody because at its core, I love it, but like comedy is meant to offend somebody.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look at South Park. They've made an industry of trying to offend literally everyone, and sometimes it is funny, and we all should be able to take a joke, but it's hard to joke these days.
Right? All right. I do want to take an actually curious break because I do love questions that I don't come up with. And again, embracing the chaos. So the actually curious deck actually has different levels. I don't know if you can see that it's got pink and yellow, green and blue. And I just discovered after yesterday's flub that the blue is the most benign. So if you want fun questions, we can go blue. If you want something a little deeper, we can go green. How do you feel? Would you
Well,
like
let's
what?
go green. Yeah.
Oh, I love
Green's one of my favorite colors, so let's risk it.
it. I love that green is one of your favorite colors. I was about to ask the forbidden what house are you, but I'm kind of mad at JK, so I'm not gonna ask.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
All right, I've got 1 through 5. Which number would you like?
Let's go two.
Feel like this is the universal number. You're the third person in the row to ask for 2. All right. Oh, damn. It says, gentrification is real. How has it affected you, or how have you played a part in it? Mhm.
Well, it definitely is real. And it's funny because I worked on this show called Fight Night, and phenomenal show. But I was listening to the podcast recently, and I don't know if it was that or something else, but like, yeah, I think it was that they were talking about how um, when there was more segregation, the Black community was actually stronger. When they desegregated the Black community, especially in Atlanta, they tore down like local banks and local community businesses, and
Mm,
kind of forced to disperse people. And we were just talking about how important community is, and for everyone. And the fact is, like, I don't even know my neighbors. I mean, I live in the country, so it's in Trump country, so it's a little nerve wracking on occasion.
sure.
But it's quiet, which is nice. Um, but in Denver, I know I lived in kind of the up and coming kind of area where artists live, where it's like the rents were better, and it's like just starting to gentrify, and then and then you get all your coffee shops, and then you get your like other elements, and it does put a lot of pressure on the people that were living there initially, and then prices go up and it pushes everybody out.
Yep.
So I'm not sure what the answer is to it, or what can make any of it better. I think ultimately it would be great if private equity wasn't buying everything up and screwing us all up. But so ultimately, I think it's a class system, and we have to recognize that it's not really. Uh, I don't think it's less about. I think it's less about race. I mean, overall, I was just listening to like things about the 60s and the 50s and the 60s, and we have come a long way. But you know, so many of us are find ways to separate each other. And ultimately, I think the biggest separation is from the top to the bottom, and we should be pulling people up in all cases, in any way we can.
Yeah.
And eat the rich.
Cheers to that. I mean, sincerely. Mm. Just to spin off of the last thing you said, I developed a series. I mean, we're still in the revision stage of the actual draft of the pilot, but because it was about the medieval period, and it is actually a kid's show, but it's reflecting on one particular truth, which is at that time, diversity was actually at a peak. And it was at a lull between the Crusades, and trade was up and education was up. Like, there are things that we assume and take for granted, including, how people had to kind of coexist even back then. Um, and I was saying this because something about learning French? No. Something about learning to be around other people, because one, I didn't realize that French was the language of merchants, and so everybody knew French if you wanted to sell anything.
Oh,
So being at least bilingual was always within your interest. Um, there's something else. What did you just say that my brain was like, oh, I gotta expand on that right now. Damn my 40 plus brain. Yep, it'll come back to me. I
like,
think it
oh,
was, go ahead.
no, you'll be like, halfway through the thing, and then you'll suddenly remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn my 40 plus brain. I'm gonna move on to the next question because I wanna hear your victory round, but I can't do it until I get my questions. All right. One more, because this will be my question, and then you can respond to me. 1 through 5, my friend.
Let's go 3.
Yeah. Switching it up. All right, still in the green. Who writes history? What influence does a historian have on society and the future? Well, the victor, for one, but not just the victor, but the person who can afford the printing press.
Yep.
And if I may say, I think it's also whoever preserves that which is printed.
Mm.
Because right now, especially as things are being destroyed or books are being banned, it does beg the question, like, who's housing those entities, those sources that at some point we're going to have to unearth. Um, so I've actually taken it upon myself to catalog and like record all. I'm doing it digitally because it's easier to get more digital into a space. But I'm basically creating a library because at some point someone's going to inherit something from me. And if they inherit something from me with instructions, then it can include, hey, these are verifiable sources. It's important that these sources stay in, the world. Please protect them, right? The same way you would protect priceless jewelry or art, protect this too. Um, anyway, so that's, in my opinion, that's who writes history, is the person who wins, the person who can afford the printing press, but also the person who saves the resources. What influence does a historian have on society and the future? For me, as a 2+2, it's also context. A historian who by default studies history means that they've actually taken the time to look at the details. And if they've looked at the details, then they have a better picture of giving context to that information. Um, which is probably why, if you're doing likewise and collecting, information for the next generation, make sure that there's some context to it. Because over time, people need those context clues, and a historian is going to pull from them. So that's my 2 cents. What do you think, Midian?
Oh yeah. I mean, we are literally seeing it in real time right now. Is voices being erased from websites, from books, from libraries. So you can see what power does to um, to the voices of history. Um, and history isn't as pretty as the victor would like to show it as. There are lots of voices that have been erased, and the more you find out about even um, inventions and major discoveries, it's possible that Shakespeare didn't even write all of Shakespeare's stuff. That there was a woman behind that, and he took her work and did it. I don't know if that's true, but it's something I've heard, and it's something I've heard in a lot of whether it's science, whether it's art, whether it's writing. It's like there's so many things that we think we know that are probably not true. And it's, I think we have to take everything with grain. Because with literally everything that we learn, there's another side, there's another voice that has been erased.
Mm, 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 mm. And I think that's interesting that we are even gifted the opportunity to talk about that because, both of us dwell mostly in the narrative space. And so while the narrative space is very good at evoking emotion, it doesn't necessarily give people a direction like a documentary would, or even like journalism does. That call to action does not happen with narrative because we just want to make sure that it resonates with you, right? It gets you thinking, it gets you feeling. But I do think that part of what we have the opportunity to do right now, to your point, is how can we participate in a story that is not of our own making, but we can still contribute to. And for the record, anybody who is listening live or anybody who's listening as part of the recording, if you have any thoughts on that, like on how we as storytellers can contribute to the current unfolding of history, leave it in the comments below because we want to hear. Also, because this is meant to be us talking with other people in the industry, we've just done 2 minutes about us. We've done a little bit about what we like to drink and eat on set. Let us know about yourself down in the comments below. We want to hear from you, what it is you do, what it is you like to drink, and of course, what are your feelings on the matriarchy taking over? I love this program. I really do. I also want to give a quick shout out to Actually Curious, which is this fantastic little company that makes these card decks. They have all different sorts. And the purpose of these cards is really just to start authentic conversations and getting to know the people in your group. I love doing it one-on-one with coffee dates. You can also take it into work on any of your work breaks. And of course, anybody that you think you already know, you can challenge that immediately. So be sure to check them out. We'll have an affiliate link down below and see what else they have got going on because as I recall, they also just came out with a journal. So if you want those prompts for yourself, kind of fun. I did want to move on because I'm a big fan of the victory round, and because it summons something inside of you to actually celebrate an effort you've made. So, Midian, tell me, what's something from this past week that you're actually really proud of doing?
So I, living by myself with my dog out in the middle of the country, I tend to spend a fair amount of my non-work time, even when I'm like, working on the computer or whatever, but like by myself. And so I try to get out and do as many networking events as I can. And over the last week, starting last weekend, actually last Thursday, but I started on Friday, it's been the Atlanta Film Festival. So it's like a 2-week festival thing. My company picked up a badge on their Seed and Spark event last year. So I was able to score those tickets for a really good price, got myself a badge, told myself I was going to go as much as possible. And my first day, I felt really uncomfortable. The first Friday night party, I'm standing there like a lump on a log because I'm like overwhelmed by like the sounds and the people, and it's hard to get into a group to try and like talk to folks. And I only knew like some people, but I kept going back and I kept doing the networking events and the cocktail things. And I talked to some people that were very interesting and not at all helpful. But then I also talked to some really great people that were super helpful. And I went to some panels, and now, now people are recognizing my face. They're looking up the company. And yesterday I had a great time. So like it took a few days to kind of get comfortable again to talk to people naturally. Networking events are generally kind of like awful. But it's how we build our community. And there's kind of like a couple of different, there's like the indie community here, and then there's like the union community here. There's the makeup and hair people. Then there's like, the filmmakers, and it's all these kind of like different disparate groups. And I like to be a part of all of them, honestly. And I'm really trying to also get to pass on a lot of my do more education, specifically geared towards minorities and women, so that we can see more of what they and we can bring to this white male dominated field where we know what the dudes can do. It's like, yeah, gore, really cool shit, like all this, like, heavy duty, I guess kind of like rock and roll, heavy metal, like, yeah, kind of like vibe that we get with special effects, from who has been doing it for the longest time. But when I see something that, like some of the Japanese artists that are doing some really great things, if I see products done by the queer community, I find it has a different flavor. When women do makeup effects, sometimes it has like an absolutely unearthly gorgeous quality to it, and it's
Oh no, there's
effects. Oh, did it stop for a minute?
Yeah, there's a small hiccup. Keep going.
Oh. But like, this is by increasing, and this is the whole thing with DEI. It like, wraps right in. It does affect who we are and what we see, and the variety and the flavor of everything that we experience. It's the beauty of the melting pot is that we get these experiences, we get these looks, we get these different qualities to the art that that keeps it from becoming stagnant, and always interested in to see what the next other bring this field. I don't think makeup effects is dead. I don't think it's going to be, going away completely with, CGI or AI. I think there's a quality to, the practical touch that is important. And so that's kind of wrapped up into kind of like beyond just the last week, but kind of like this year is kind of a focus that I've tried to get into more heavily.
Yeah, man. Cheers to that. Not just because networking sucks, but also because you can see how it weaves into the fabric of everything else we have to do. So cheers to your successful networking. And honestly, it's like, me, because I literally have like reflection on what it means that you're building. And I'm like, you naturally rolled right into it. So look at you. Honestly, I also just love the proof is in the exposure, right? Sinners is like historical at this point. And it's not the first time that Ryan Coogler's made something that's historical. And at the heart of it is diversity, right? And not just like because of the color of their skin on screen. Like they're pushing the envelope on filmmaking, on storytelling, know? And I
absolutely.
think when you put two and two together, part of originality comes from getting curious. You know what I mean? And really looking at somebody else and going, hey, what's in your head? What's in your heart? If you were at the helm, what kind of story would you want to tell? It's amazing the thing that you can find out at the other end of that conversation when you start asking other people. I feel like my victory round is super small, but I still want to mention it because I feel like it's one step in the direction of me as a creative producer. I've been doing a lot of coaching of late, coaching and like consultations. And I had a client earlier this week. Usually when left to my own devices, if I do not have an agenda, we can just keep talking, right? I love interacting with people and meeting new people. And if I don't have guardrails, I will just keep going. So I knew as part of this consultation hour, I had to stay on task. So I actually made myself like a cover sheet, and that cover sheet like had other things included with it underneath, right? So it's like a table of contents and then like, kind of things to keep you on track throughout. But thank God for that agenda, because what could have easily been a 3-hour conversation was only like an hour and 15, hour and a half. And it was a really great session. I got paid. I love getting paid. They even signed up for the workshop afterwards. But I think the victory I'm really trying to claim here is, in order for me to be successful at what I'm doing right now with story math, because the purpose of story math is really to help people utilize a system I've started using for myself, where you go from concept to treatment or concept to outline. And when I figured it out, story math was just the easiest way to conceptualize it. But if I don't have something that has an easy deliverable, it can make people feel like they didn't get what they paid for, right? And so by having that structure, and that structure created a clear, like, packaged deliverable, and then being able to easily deliver it, like, it just helped to reinforce the client trust, which I think I needed too. I think I needed something that made it easy to be like, okay, that's done. So yeah, I'm proud of that. Now, mind you, I still have a long way to go to figure out all of the little branches of story math, but as far as consultations go, I was really proud of that one. And I think I always think of victories in terms of the 8 dimensions of wellness. So even though that's kind of an occupational, maybe even a mental like victory, because I can mentally let go of it. I also feel like it's also like environmental and physical. It's really hard for me to live my life when things are still occupying my brain for work. So even now, part of the reason we're doing our, little biscuits with bosses is so that we remind ourselves it's okay to take a beat, and it's okay to rest, and it's okay to put value on an hour, an hour and a half where you're not working. You can still have mental stimulation and social time. And it's not the end of the world that you're not hustling every minute of every day. But again, that's hard for me if I don't have a very clear, I'm done. Yes.
Yeah, I feel that for sure.
All right. I feel like we've wrapped up our victory round pretty cleanly. Final reminder, though, for anybody who really has enjoyed the victory round, be sure to follow owlecho.com, which will be down below for you. This is where you can find your own. We have a free downloadable PDF on how to host your own victory round, because I would rather it be a movement than anything else. You can do this with friends. You can do this with family. I've been known to sit awkwardly at a table at a networking event and just ask the question like, so, hey, what have you done this last week that you're super proud of? Because even if I don't know you, I can still cheer you on. Or if the victory you're celebrating is so heinous, then I know to walk away. Either way, if you want to be able to host your own victory round and really get a little deeper with your conversations, we got you covered. Just follow that link at owlecho.com. All right, the final bit. And I feel like we're already kind of cresting into it, but like I always like to dive deep with my filmmaker guests, including but not limited to, let's talk the future of filmmaking. And now I feel like the first question you've already kind of touched on, but the question is, what have you done to help others level up in their filmmaking journey? And I feel like teaching is probably what you're going to lean into, but I'd like to hear how that's been like, and if there's anything else that you feel like, maybe it's not part of your company mission, but it's part of your personal mission to give back to the industry.
I specifically want to help filmmakers too, independent filmmakers, understand the process of makeup and makeup effects and special effects, and what it costs and how long it takes. I was talking to a filmmaker yesterday, and he was like, "Hey, I'd really like to, have this umbrella go into this person's eye and then like stay there." And I was like, "Okay, well, this is not something we can just do on the day for no money, because if you want the umbrella to stay in the eye, that's a rig to keep it from moving." And like, having people kind of understand what it takes to do an effect, and how they can re-storyboard or rethink about like how they want to see it in order to fit with their budget, because everybody says, like how much is it going to cost, and like that is a tricky fucking question, because it's going to cost, it varies. It's like, I hate saying that, but it's like, we can do this effect for $2,500. We could do this effect for $50,000. It's like, there's so many different materials. There's so many different things. So it's like, trying to get people to think a little bit more creatively about how to shoot their film, to work within their budget, to be creative, and still be able to utilize artisans out there, that can help create this stuff for them, and they don't have to only go to whatever next computer program will kind of get them what they want, and be able to be able to shoot it on set so that your actors can really feel it, so it can feel real. Nothing feels real like practical effects, like doing it on set. So, no shade to visual effects. It's there for a reason. It's great. There are so many things that we cannot do practically that visual effects can pull further. But to be a filmmaker is to be creative. So, whatever I can do to kind of help indie filmmakers out there understand that, even union filmmakers, there's a lot of folks out there that just don't know how it works, and we're far enough away from the days of face off, that people are just not really clear on a process. So that's trying to keep this alive, trying to spread that knowledge, and boy, it would be nice to I'd like to talk to you about your consulting work. I would like to consult and do speaking engagements as well, and be able to, because I do realize that I've been doing this for over 20 years. I have a few things. That I could help people out with. So that would be nice. The future of filmmaking, as far as I can see, is that this whole IP known. That was the other thing I was going to just briefly touch on. Yesterday at the film festival, I heard about a filmmaker that literally had to create a graphic novel of their film and get that off the ground in order to have IP that the film could be based on, in order to get it greenlit. And so IP is so important to the people with money right now. It's almost atrocious. So finding a way to get, to expand your market, to get your idea across platforms, can be helpful. I think we're going to see a lot more really, really small and shorter independent work gain popularity amongst the people. I think we're going to see smaller budgets in Hollywood. I think they're going to go more digital. I think more AI. They're going to find ways to cut the cost of things, but keep it. I think we're going to have a short period where Hollywood just doesn't know what it's doing, and it just keeps doing the IP thing, and it loses money, and then we're going to start seeing some indie stuff. It comes back around to people that are brave enough to make something different and get eyeballs on it any way they can, and get big enough for the people with money to notice. I think, AI has a way of, and technology has a way of, the things that we have to look into the good part of that. I'm not a proponent of much of this, but the nice thing about it is that it gives the have-nots the ability to jump into the sphere. It's just like when we went from film to digital.
Yep.
It opened up the possibility that, like all of us have, a camera in our pockets. We can make stuff now, and you don't have to have everything. And I think that's fantastic. And I think that it does increase the voices that we can hear. It also floods the market with a bunch of shit, but so be it.
And there we have it. I mean, let's be honest. Even back in the day when we would go to Suncoast Video or Blockbuster, we would sort through a bin of crap. It's not that crap wasn't being made before. It's just that we have it in a greater quantity. So it was always kind of our our pleasure and our plight to dig through things that probably aren't all that great in search of something that really is. Um, and from my 2 cents, I'm a face chaser, right? Especially at the height of my like obsession with film. It's probably one of the reasons I went to film school, is I would find a performance and go, "You're really interesting. What else have you done?" And then just seek it out and watch everything in that person's lineup. I remember one particular time I was doing Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and partly because he made a move, right? I could see what he was doing with Third Rock from the Sun. I could see where he was trying to depart from that and what was he taking as part of that. And I had actually forgotten, I had remembered very clearly Mysterious Skin because that is a mind trip. It's
Ooh,
basically
what was it called again?
Mysterious Skin.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. I haven't seen it.
Um, it's a drama about two young boys who are both molested as children, and one sees it as a scar, and the other is like his how he figures out that he's gay. And so is kind of forever in love with this abuser. Um, and so seeing both of their how they deal with that as young adults. Um, again, mind trip. But indie, like, forgive the fact that you can see his contacts moving around in his eyes, things like that. um, but I'd completely forgotten about whatever the one he did with Diane. No, not Keaton. The one who always does sexually charged things until she was suddenly Superman's mom, and then hold on. I'll just put in Man of Steel. Man of Steel. What is her name? She plays the mom. Yeah, we know Kevin Costner. Who's the mom? Oh, come on. So many cast members. Where's the mom? Oh, Diane Lane. Duh. Of course.
Hmm.
So it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Diane Lane, and this was when what's his name was having a comeback. Uh-huh. He was in Iron Man 2 as the Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
I
know
know
who
what
I'm
you're talking about, but
and Mickey Rourke, still scarred and whatever, so he was kind of perfect as this criminal, whatever. Completely forgot about that. My point here being sometimes in the search for something really interesting or really great, we're going to have toss away creations. Sometimes you got to make something bad before you can make something good. That's just the nature of it. So I also I feel you that there's going to be a kind of a second flooding of the industry. But I also wonder if there's not a way um to continue to let community guide, because I think part of the IP equation right now is who are you collecting as a fan long enough that they could be carried over from, book to screen, or long enough to go from screen to merch. Because if they don't like it enough, you haven't done your job.
Ooh, that's rough these days, though. Like,
it is. The
man,
attention span alone.
consuming so much quantity of everything right now.
But I love that your reach back, right, is not just towards the next generation of artists to, learn costumes, learn prosthetics, but it's also to filmmakers so that they can continue to kind of advocate for your role. That's a really important part. Because if filmmakers don't know what you do or don't know the value of what you do, they can't hire you or your predecessor or your not predecessors.
Proteges?
Proteges. That's the one. Parlay. Yes, proteges. Thank you. Sometimes the collective brain is what you need in order to get it through. No, I think that's gosh, what a really great point to end on, if for nothing else, to be like, there are other ways to give back that is mutually beneficial. And I'm all about that mutually beneficial. All right, now I got to cook on this because I'm like, I bet there are ways that I can give back that also kind of help what I'm trying to do. So, I feel like I've taken up so much of your time, so I definitely want to just give you like a moment to is there, if knowing that there are potential artists or potential filmmakers in the audience, are there any like last thoughts you would want them to know? Parting advice.
Parting advice is kind of something that I've been reminded of this week, and particularly yesterday, is when you reach out to connect with people, don't just push who you are. Ask for advice. Look for a connection, because that's going to be more valuable to you in the long run. Is that connection that might take a year or two before that person remembers who you are, hires you, or does any of those kind of things. But that person might be the one 2 years from now that gets you that big gig. And so step back, try not to be a little, try not to be too eager to force others to benefit you right away. Look for the benefit in their advice, beyond what monetary things that they can give you, and be respectful and look to connect, because community is going to save you.
All the yeses. Wait.
This is a lesson I need too. So it's like the constant thing.
Amen to that. I mean, and cheers to that, if for nothing else, because I think part of what happens is when you know a thing and you're promoting a thing, you forget that sometimes the only way to keep moving forward is to take a step back and still learn, right? And still, to your point, ask questions and learn from other people, and give people a chance to show their value as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Girl, cheers. That's some good stuff right there.
Good conversations. And yeah, I know we got a little political and all that. And I just want to say that I see the value in everyone in this planet, and that we should all be looking at the goodness in each other, and try not to look for ways to separate each other. Even the rich have their place in supporting a lot of the filmmakers that we see, and so they have a value as well. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to do well, and to be successful. We just have to remember that we're all on this planet together, and we should be helping each other out.
Yeah, man. I mean, I couldn't have put it better myself. Midian, thank you so much for joining me today for some tea. I feel like it's so funny that the name alludes to the idea that we're going to be gossiping, but that is the least of what we did. Like this was so deep and so real. Thank you. And thank you for being like open and honest and, hell, even a little political. I say bring it because if we can't talk about it now, when can we? So, um, yeah, thanks, my friend. It was so good to see you.
Good to see you, Kay. Appreciate you. Thanks for this conversation. It's been healing as always.
You know, back at you. I think I needed this one too. All right, for anyone who is here and you have stuck around this whole time, bless you. We will see you again next week. I will let you know on Monday who our guest is because we're doing a little round robin. So more soon on the next leader in the film and television industry that will be joining us for Biscuits with the Bosses. In the meantime, take care of yourself. That's the whole point of the Mental Awareness Month, right? Make sure that you're not just aware, but you're also doing based on the awareness. So take care, guys. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Wherever you're listening from, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really does help. This episode is brought to you by Off Duty Thanks, a gift and apparel brand that invites connection while respecting boundaries. Wear your hat, hoodie, or t-shirt about town or to those oh-so-important networking events. Check out the different off-duty versions at offdutythanks.shop. And be sure to grab something for your favorite friend in the film, television, or media industry. Today's episode was also made possible by Owl Echo Entertainment. You can learn more about them and their production work at owlecho.com. Head over to owlecho.com to see what we've got coming up. New podcast episodes, events, writing workshops, and consulting services. Today's episode was hosted by yours truly, Kay Ross, co-hosted by the incomparable Matt York, produced by the amazing Lane Ewing, edited by Matt York. Yeah, he really does do everything. Opening music by The Midnight with their track America Online. And of course, follow us on Instagram and TikTok to stay in the loop. We've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. Bye now.